Okay, let's jump right into a really powerful and, honestly, maybe even a little uncomfortable idea for anyone out there who leads a team. What if I told you that your effort to be a nice leader might actually be the very thing holding your team back?
And this quote, wow, it just nails it, doesn't it? Most of us think leadership is some kind of popularity contest, right? But the real currency, it isn't likability, it's trust. And how do you build trust? It all comes down to predictability. It's about your team knowing exactly what they're going to get from you day in and day out. So this brings up a huge question you've got to ask yourself. If your team walks in every single morning playing a guessing game, are we getting the happy, supportive boss today or the stressed out, critical boss? Well, you're not building trust. You're building anxiety. People are walking on eggshells. And that kind of emotional roller coaster, it just makes it impossible for anyone to feel safe enough to do their best work. All right, so let's really get into this and dismantle this whole myth of the nice leader. Because here's the absolute key. We have to understand the difference between being nice and being kind. They sound so similar, right? But when it comes to leadership, trust me, they are worlds apart, and they lead to completely different results.
Just look at this breakdown. It lays it all out so clearly. Being nice is all about avoiding conflict, usually to protect your own feelings. It's about seeking approval. And that's why it's so unpredictable, because you're just doing whatever feels easiest in the moment. But kind leadership, that's a whole different game. It's about serving your team. It means you tell the truth, even when it's tough, because your number one focus is their growth. And that commitment is what makes you predictable. It's what makes you trustworthy.
To really understand just how damaging this can be, I've got to tell you a story. It's a classic cautionary tale about a leader I call the unpredictable boss.
So I once worked for this guy whose leadership style was a total reflection of what was happening in his home life. Now, we had no clue what was actually going on behind the scenes, but you better believe we felt the emotional shrapnel in the office every single day.
And here's the thing. On his good days, he was absolutely incredible. I mean, if things were good at home, he was the best boss you could ask for. Supportive, encouraging, just a brilliant person to work with. The whole team felt like we were on top of the world, like we could do anything. Work was exciting, and everything just flowed.
But then there were the other days. A bad day at home. He'd walk into the office like a literal storm cloud, and he would just rain hell on all of us. All of a sudden, tiny mistakes became these massive, catastrophic failures. The tension was so thick you could barely breathe. Honestly, everyone just put their heads down and prayed the day would end.
So, what do you think the end result of all that was? Here's the kicker. It wasn't even that we disliked him. It was that we just couldn't trust him. And that unpredictability, man, it completely killed any respect we might have had. Because when you have no idea which version of your boss is going to show up, well, building real trust, it's just not going to happen. Impossible. Okay, so how do we make sure we don't become that person, right? To build the kind of leadership your team can actually count on, let's walk through a really practical framework. We're going to call it the predictability audit. And it's all about building that solid executive presence and, you guessed it, trust. All right, this audit has 3 steps. They're simple, but they are so powerful. First up, stop over-explaining. Just stop it. Be clear. Be concise. When you over-explain, it kind of signals that you're not confident in your own decision. Step 2, stop fidgeting. Seriously, your body language says so much. A calm, steady presence, that shows you're in control and predictable. And third, and this is the big one, stop avoiding hard conversations. This is it. Facing tough stuff head-on is the ultimate sign of a kind, predictable leader. Now, that third step, stop avoiding hard conversations, that one is so critical, we're going to spend the rest of our time on it. This is where the rubber meets the road, folks. We're moving from just talking about it to actually doing something. Let's focus on your hardest conversation. I absolutely love this metaphor. You know what I'm talking about, right? We all have that one hard conversation we've just been avoiding. Maybe it's some tough feedback for a team member, or a talk about a project that's off the rails. We just kind of tuck it away, put it in our purse, and carry it around with us. But it's this heavy weight. And here's the thing. Your team feels it. They know something's being left unsaid, and that creates unpredictability. So here's the bottom line. True, kind leadership isn't about avoiding the hard stuff. It's forged right there in those tough moments. Having that difficult conversation isn't mean. It is the kindest, most predictable thing you can possibly do for your team's growth and for your own integrity as a leader.
So I'll leave you with this question, a really important one to think about. What burden, what conversation are you going to set down today?